Last time she said, you know, whatever is that one.
Yeah.
Heim with haha. Or whatever. She kick in there. I said, God, you know what? Sidewalk is a sweetheart.
Yeah.
But in terms of that, I don't want to fight that. I don't want to take a leg kicks from her.
Right. She hits hard.
She hit extremely hard.
So you think she's going to win probably on the feet, striking?
I gotta
striking.
I gotta say that.
So what do you have going on next? Any other movies? What's going on?
You know,
working with any other fighters?
I'm doing it. What am I not doing? You know, I don't want to be painted with one. You know, I don't want to be painted with one brush. Kenny Florian. I don't want to end up like you know, only doing announcings or whatever stuff like that. I like to do a modelings. I like to do a you know, my own fragrance. I like to sell Renato Laranja product on renatolaranja.com.
Okay.
But a lot of people tend to find out Squad Laranja on Twitter and Instagram.
I like your Instagram. I follow you, and I'm a big fan. So.
I don't blame you, but you could. He posts some stuff once.
Could.
You know?
I could. But, well, listen, man, it's always awesome to see you. Hopefully we can train together at some point. I always learn so much when I train with you, and thank you for coming on the show.
But, you know, maybe we can do another segment. You know, we can make this a regular stuff.
Right. Well, this is actually going to be... Yeah. But if we did, then we would definitely... Yeah. But if we did, then we would definitely do that. Well,
I love you anyway.
All right. Thank you for...
Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right, we are just moments away from live fights. Thank you, buddy. In Los Angeles, but first, we had tonight's fighters ask us some questions. We will get some answers next on FS1. But first, we had tonight's fighters ask us some questions. We will get some answers next on FS1.
With you, and folks, if Jones versus Gus 2 looked anything like Jones versus Gus 1, we are in for a treat. So for a little context, Kenny Florian, start us off with number 5, Forrest Griffin versus Stephan Bonner.
Well, this is one of the greatest fights in UFC history, period, let alone 205. So both these guys really went at it in the season finale of The Ultimate Fighter. Really went at it in the season finale of The Ultimate Fighter. Season 1, these guys were absolute warriors. It was non-stop action. You could also argue this was one of the fights that really made the UFC. People just went nuts after this fight.
Dan Henderson unified the Pride and UFC titles.
Yeah, absolutely. This was a classic. I fought in the co-main event before this. This took place in London way back in 2007, and just from this little clip here, you can see what a great fight this was. Both guys, absolute legends. Great fight this was. Both guys, absolute legends of the sport, and yeah, I was just proud to be a part of that card on such an epic fight.
Very, very cool. Anthony, all the way back at UFC 22, Frank Shamrock versus Tito Ortiz. 22, Frank Shamrock versus Tito Ortiz.
Tito Ortiz versus Frank Shamrock is one of the early fights where there was a real storyline. There was some real bad blood. The pay-per-views did really, really well at this time in the sport where pay-per-view sales weren't a huge thing. And Frank Shamrock was cardio and finished with strikes.
It was a great fight, but Kenny, UFC 139, Hall of Fame fight, my favorite fight ever, Shogun.
Something out of a movie. Both of these guys went at each other. It was very dramatic because you thought Shogun was going to win the fight. You thought Henderson. Something out of a movie. Both of these guys went at each other. It was very dramatic because you thought Shogun was going to win the fight. You thought Henderson was going to win the fight. And it happened several times around, it seemed. This fight was unbelievable.
Unbelievable. But Michael at number 1, let's give it up. John Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson at UFC 160-65.
You know, this fight was absolutely incredible. I was on my feet almost the whole time. I didn't know who was going to win. It was really that close, but it was entertaining from start to finish. One of the first times Jones was made to look human. He didn't have his will. He couldn't take Gustafsson down, but there's no quitting John Jones. And of course, and still, but we get the rematch tonight. Can't wait. Let's do it.
Of course you do.
I was an undefeated light heavyweight for a long time. Don't know if I've ever mentioned it.
I mean, I'm a 205er.
Yeah,
I've had a few fights as well.
Could you have fought? Of course you do.
I was an undefeated light heavyweight for a long time. Don't know if I've ever mentioned it.
I mean, I'm a 205er.
Yeah,
I've had a few fights as well.
Could you have fought Michael ever? Do you think,
Oh,
Anthony?
big time. 100%. Let's go.
Right now.
I don't mind, bro.
All right, well, listen.
Let's go. 100%. Let's go.
Right now.
I don't mind, bro.
All right, well, listen.
Let's go.
Just setting things up right here. Listen, we are off your first deposit, and you can play for your share of $10,000, of course, on our pre-fight show. DraftKings is the leader in one-week fantasy MMA, and tonight they're offering a $10,000 contest that fight fans can play for free. Sign up using promo code FIGHT-NIGHT. Make
Leader in one-day fantasy MMA.
your first deposit, and you can play for your share of $10,000 in prizes. If you want to get in on the action and play for free, Tommy Tohold is here to show you how.
Tommy Toland here to tell you that DraftKings fighters while staying within the $50,000 salary. Leader in one-day fantasy MMA is featuring thousands of dollars in prizes during this weekend's fights. Just download the DraftKings app and sign up using promo code FIGHT-NIGHT. To play, draft to every uppercut and armbar with DraftKings one-day fantasy MMA contests and play for your share of thousands in prizes.
Sign up and enter the contest now. We will show you how to draft a lineup. A lot of people thought Gus won the first time, so maybe you're going to pick him to win tonight. Alexander Gustafsson, maybe you'll pick his teammate, Alir Latifi. Then we've got Mendez, Zingano, Arlovsky, and Condit. Guys, there are 3 underdogs and 3 favorites on this list.
Listen, I like the pick for Chad Mendez.
Yeah.
I think Mendez is probably a better version of Volkanovski. Alex might prove me wrong, but I really like that fight, and I like that pick.
Yeah.
You know, I really like the Carlos Condit pick. He's a volume striker. He puts big numbers up as far as strikes landed, and he chases the finish.
And you got to give it up for Andrei Arlovsky. This guy's been around forever, a former champion. And take one look at that guy's nose,
Yeah.
and you know he's been in a lot of fights.
All right, well, hey, DraftKings, the game inside the game. Now, we had some of tonight's fighters ask our panelists some questions, courtesy of Ask the Analyst, so it's time to get some answers. Gentlemen, first up, Amanda Nunes.
Kenny, this question for you. Your retirement, who you would fight and which weight class?
Interesting. All right, well, if I had to come against one of the guys who are fighting tonight, BJ Penn. We fought before. I have a lot of respect for him. It would be at 155 pounds.
He match.
He matched.
He matched. Very nice. All right, next question. Alexander Gustafsson's got a...
He match.
He matched.
He matched. Very nice. All right, next question. Alexander Gustafsson's got a question for you guys.
Anthony Smith, are you ready to play with the big boys?
Oh.
Smith, are you ready to play with the big boys?
Oh.
Ooh, are you?
Absolutely. I just hope Gustafsson does his job, and
Of tonight.
I do.
You do.
I hope
you
it's
want
good.
that shot.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And I would love to have that fight this summer.
Hey, well,
Standing next to him, he is
Ready
one of the
I know,
big
he is a big boy.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'm ready. Tell them.
Yes, I'm
ready?
ready. I'm ready.
You want the winner of tonight.
I do.
You do.
I hope
you
it's
want
good.
that shot.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Well, I'm-
Tell him,
Mike's
Coach
turning into the
Bisping.
hype man over there now. Let's move along.
Winner of tonight.
I do.
You do.
I hope
you
it's
want
good.
that shot.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. Well, I'm-
Tell him,
Mike's
Coach
turning into the
Bisping.
hype man over there now. Let's move along. We've got a question in from featherweight Alexander.
That's a good question.
That's a
Listen,
good question.
I think the 145-pound division is way better than when I was
Now.
That's a good question.
That's a
Listen,
good question.
I think the 145-pound division is way better than when I was fighting, if I'm being honest. It's just the level at 145 pounds is just ridiculous. Max Holloway, one of the best champions in the UFC, period. There's no doubt it is really improved. I would have my work cut out.
Yeah.
Happy.
Anthony Smith, this one's for you. How do you feel sitting there knowing that you just may be next? Anthony Smith, this one's for you. How do you feel sitting there knowing that you just may be next?
All right, so 2 winning bombers in your system right now. Picograms. Pictograms.
Oh, Mike.
Oh, Michael over there.
That's what you should be saying. Say, listen, John, I got no pictograms in me. Let's go, bro. If you can win tonight. Anthony Smith, to my office after this. We're going to talk, okay?
Yeah, we are.
Tell you how to...
Thanks for the questions, fighters. But listen, the stage is finally set. The fighters have arrived, and we are ready for action right after I put these... Thanks for the questions, fighters. But listen, the stage is finally set. The fighters have arrived, and we are ready for action right after I put these gentlemen on the spot for their predictions. You are watching. Coming up next, former champ Andrei Arlovsky takes on Walt Harris. Arlovsky.
Andre Arlovsky's got 13 first-round finishes, 17 wins by KO, 3 by submission. He's been, he made his UFC debut in November of 2000.
He is a legend for sure. Let's talk about Walt Harris. Michael, he is a former college basketball star.
Yeah, that's because he's a big guy, but this is definitely his biggest fight. Arlovsky, former champion. Harris has 11 wins by knockout, a 100% finishing rate.
Well, speaking of big fights tonight, Kat Zingano is in one. She could be looking for a title shot if she gets past Megan Anderson. She had a title shot at 135 pounds before, but should be a fresh new Kat Zingano tonight. But Anthony, let's talk about former Invicta champ Megan Anderson.
Megan Anderson, one of my teammates. She's former Invicta featherweight champion. She's won 4 out of her last 5. This is her second Invicta featherweight champion. She's won 4 out of her last 5. This is her second UFC fight after dropping a decision to Holly Holm.
All right, and Michael, let's take a look at the 25-2 Douglas Silva de Andrade.
Yeah, as you said.
25-2 Douglas Silva de Andrade.
Yeah, as you said, 25-2, and a lot of those wins, they come by finish. He has 19 wins by KO and 1 win by submission. So this guy is a lot of fun to watch.
All right, Flo, representing Russia, Piotr Yan.
Yeah, there is the Russian fighter who is undefeated. Now, overall record of 10-1. You can see that 5-fight win streak right there. Excellent striker. And Michael, you'll like this. He's a master of sport in boxing.
Oh, international master of boxing.
Yes.
Oh, what? Because he's Russian. Yeah. International master of nothing.
Anthony, let's talk about the international hero.
BJ Penn, UFC Hall of Famer, former UFC lightweight welterweight champion, legend, endeared by everybody. We love him.
Octagon with Yanni the.
We head into UFC for 72% over the last 12 pay-per-view cards. I got 3 more for you tonight. First up, my sharp bet. Chad Mendes opens a minus for 72% over the last 12 pay-per-view cards. I got 3 more for you tonight. First up, my sharp bet. Chad Mendes opens a minus 170 favorite over Alexander Volkanovski, and wise guys immediately steam the underdog, forcing that line to drop. This will be Alexander Volkanovski, and wise guys immediately steam the underdog, forcing that line to drop. This will be Volkanovski's stiffest test to date, but I gotta agree with the sharps here. Both have excellent takedown defense hunters to win 130. For my second bet, a value bet. Michael Chiesa opened a minus 160 favorite over Carlos Condit, and that line's gone up and down since due to good two-way action. Chiesa moving up in weight should be a benefit. He's been propped since due to good two-way action. Chiesa moving up in weight should be a benefit. He's been profitable in this spot, going 5-2 as a favorite compared to only 1-3 as an underdog for Condit. I'll go ahead and lay 150 to win 100 on Michael Chiesa. For my third and compared to only 1-3 as an underdog for Condit, I'll go ahead and lay 150 to win 100 on Michael Chiesa. For my third and final bet, a prop in the co-main event, Nunez Cyborg, that total round prop opened at 2.5. Only 2 of the last 12 bouts have gone to a decision for each of these fighters, but that wasn't against the type of opposition they'll be facing here tonight. 2 very durable women. I'll go ahead and lay 175 to win 100 that this fight goes over. Cash him, don't trash him.
All right, thank you so much, Yanni. Now, gentlemen, it is.
Cash him, don't trash him.
All right, thank you so much, Yanni. Now, gentlemen, it is time to get your prediction and everything, but I mean, whatever. Here we go. Okay, so featherweight, at featherweight, Chad Mendes or Alexander Volkanovski?
Awesome fight, tough fight, but I got to go with Mendes. I think his experience and superior wrestling gets it done.
I agree. I think Mendes, with his superior wrestling, as you said, and his higher caliber wrestling,
gets it done.
I agree. I think Mendes, with his superior wrestling, as you said, and his higher caliber opponents, I think he's beaten the better guys. Yeah.
He's too long in the tooth, guys. Volkanovski is in his prime. He's got less miles on the clock. Volkanovski.
We have got 2 top 10 light heavyweights, Ilir Latifi and Corey Anderson. Who are you taking?
You know what? I'm going with Latifi. I think he's going to be able to stop the takedowns of Corey Anderson, and because of that, he's going to get the win. I see a TKO happening late in the fight.
I 100% agree with you, Kenny. I think that Latifi is the more explosive wrestler. I think that he's got more power in his hands, and I think that he gets the job done by finish.
Yeah, no disrespect to Anderson, but I fail to see a way how he wins this fight, if I'm honest.
His hands, and I think that he gets the job done by finish.
Yeah, no disrespect to Anderson, but I fail to see a way how he wins this fight, if I'm honest. I just think he's outmatched everywhere. Let's see if he gets the job done.
All right, now this is a fight.
Is wrestling, but I think it's Carlos Condit.
This is a fight a lot of us have been looking forward to. It's happening at 170 pounds. The former interim champ, Carlos Condit, or Michael Chiesa.
You know, I think Michael Chiesa has a very...
You know, as hard as it is to go against
with his wrestling, but I think it's Carlos Condit's time. I think his passion is back. I think he needs to get that win, and I think the veteran gets the win here in the upper Chiesa.
You know, as hard as it is to go against Carlos Condit, I think that Michael Chiesa is just coming on. I think the weight class change, I think that he gained a lot in this training.
Carlos Condit's shirt, and I just think Condit, you know, he's got too much experience and he's better on the feet. Chiesa can't get the fight to the floor, in my opinion. Carlos Condit wins.
All right, let's talk about the co-main event, which I actually believe is harder to pick than some people do. Some people actually believe is harder to pick than some people do. Some people think it's going to be a runaway for Chris, but it could be the bantamweight champ Amanda Nunes upsetting the featherweight queen tonight. You never know.
Listen, the easier pick would be to go with Cyborg. I think Cyborg has a lot of weapons. She's a true 145-pounder, but and I'm going to go with Nunes. I think this is the toughest matchup by far for Cyborg, and I think she's going to surprise everybody tonight.
Agreeing across the board.
Oh, nice. All right.
I'm going to go with Nunes. I think that she has the power to make Cyborg hesitate, and I think if you slow Cyborg down with hesitation, I think that her speed advantage is going to be that much bigger.
What have you guys been smoking, okay? Because Cyborg wins this fight. She's the bigger, better, stronger fighter. Center of the octagon, they're going to throw down. Cyborg wins. I say a stoppage, rounds 3 or 4.
Just as she beat you
Here
up
we
in
go.
training.
Here are our poll results in the main event. 52% of you saying John Jones, 48% of you saying Alexander Gustafsson. It's a very close fight the first time. Who gets it done this time, Kenny Florian?
My goodness. You know, the easy answer again would be to go with John Jones.
The fans.
I'm going with John Jones. I think John Jones just simply has to be that much better than Gustafsson tonight.
I agree. It's hard to go. It's hard to bet against someone who's never lied. Wrong or not, I've got to go.
For all that is right in this world, Alexander Gustafsson has to win this fight, and I think that he will. I think all that stuff is a distraction. The first fight was very, very close. I feel like Gustafsson won the first fight 3 rounds to 2. All that stuff is a distraction. The first fight was very, very close. I feel like Gustafsson won the first fight 3 rounds to 2, so...
The most start to this contest at 2 minutes, 46 seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by submission due to a heel hook, Ryan, the seconds of the very first round. Declaring the winner by submission due to a heel hook, Ryan, the Wizard Hall.
Congratulations. I'm here with the winner, Ryan Hall. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu by you. But I have to ask you, what is it like to stare across the cage one of the all-time greats in BJ Penn?
Just to compete against BJ is a surreal experience. I've learned so much.
One of the all-time greats in BJ Penn.
Just to compete against BJ is a surreal experience. I've learned so much from him, and honestly, he's one of my heroes. And if I could ever accomplish 1/10 of what he's done, I would feel pretty happy.
And let's take a look at the submission. You started off with an inside.
I would feel pretty happy.
And let's take a look at the submission. You started off with an inside leg kick and went into the roll, and just absolutely beautiful execution of this heel hook. Please talk us through this.
Thank you.
Beautiful execution of this heel hook. Please talk us through this.
Thank you. That's something that my coach Faraz, Kenny Florian, who's in studio, and Todd Lee over there have been working on with me for for some time all this year. I haven't been fighting for a while, but I've been working hard, and this is one of the things that we've tried to do is all this year. I haven't been fighting for a while, but I've been working hard, and this is one of the things that we've tried to do is blend the kicking and everything else. So I'm just glad it worked out, and because BJ kicked my leg hard a bunch of times.
Well, to have it pull off on a guy
hard a bunch of times.
Well, to have it pull off on a guy like BJ Penn, who's such an accomplished Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artist in his own right, I mean, this is one of the reasons why it's difficult finding fights for you.
Yeah, I mean...
Finding fights for you.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, no one wears an S on their chest. Nobody's Superman, but included, of course, it's an honor to compete against him. And if I ever get the opportunity, I'd be really excited to train with him because, again, he's taught me everything but via video.
Well, congratulations on an outstanding victory. Ryan Hall, ladies and gentlemen.
Big win for Ryan Hall tonight. His next UFC fight, he has said, will be back down at featherweight. He back in August. Big night for the new dad, Ryan Hall. All right, here's a look at what is coming your way over on UFC Fight Pass in China. As usual, you'll get Fight Pass prelims for all UFC pay-per-view events, plus the MMA from around the globe you have come to expect, the likes of big events, the Eddie Bravo Invitational and Polaris. Also, Roy Jones Jr. boxing and plenty of kickboxing and Muay Thai coverage events, the Eddie Bravo Invitational and Polaris. Also, Roy Jones Jr. boxing and plenty of kickboxing and Muay Thai coverage as well. UFC Fight Pass. Download the UFC app today. All right, coming up next, the app today. All right, coming up next, a lot of excitement for this fight at bantamweight. Muay Thai practitioner Douglas Silva de Andrade is a pro, 25-2 as a pro with 19 knockouts. Tonight, though, he is a decided underdog against the oncoming Russian boxer Piotr Yan. It has been so far. His label turns to in the greater Los Angeles area tonight for the brought to you by Cerveza Modelo, the official beer of UFC. And as usual, the MMA leader closing out the calendar to run clock as we inch closer to 10 p.m. Eastern, and the monster that is UFC 232, Jones versus Gustafsson 2, exclusively on pay-per-view. And speaking of which, it has been a wild ride for the UFC superstar Jon Jones. He has had a penchant, though, to thrive, and he expects tonight will be no different. And he expects tonight will be no different.
Since his victory in July of 2017, Jones has dealt with another doping suspension, proving that Jones was not at fault.
All right, let's go. Nice and easy. Down and back, guys. Go.
The now because leaving the sport was never an option.
If there's any time I ever thought about quitting and walking away from this, I mean, I was hated, and turning it all off is the easy way to deal with it.
Keep your eyes down the whole way.
You know, financially, definitely don't have to fight anymore. I could afford to delete social media accounts and ride off into the sunset. I have to fight anymore. I could afford to delete social media accounts and ride off into the sunset. But, you know, I didn't do that. I came back and faced it, and I learned to take things more seriously.
Looking back on the first fight with Gustafsson, Jones feels...
I learned to take things more seriously.
Looking back on the first fight with Gustafsson, Jones feels a sense of confidence, knowing the bout took place before he learned the error of his ways.
I was right in the heyday of just being a complete party animal. Being up super late, you know, missing practices, being at practice hungover, not respecting what I had.
Jon Jones gets taken down for the first time. Look at that, haymaker over the top. Wow, I'm very impressed with Gustafsson so far.
Since then, Jones has put in years of work at the Performance Ranch.
A little quick step and reach. And rest. Yep. The difference we're going to see is the focus that Jon is. There you go. He really wants to show the world how he's grown and how he's evolved as a better athlete. It's going to be fun. And then just make big circles with it. Push the knees apart. Good. That's it. Big, strong.
You know, Alexander Gustafsson said, I don't know what his
And then just make big circles with it. Push the knees apart. Good. That's it. Big, strong.
You know, Alexander Gustafsson said, I don't know what his excuse is. He fought a diluted version of myself the first time.
Good.
At his absolute best. He was extremely well trained, and he still came up short. This time he's going to meet me at my absolute best as well. And let's see how he does.
And one of the things about his wild antics outside of the cage is he's wild inside the cage. Controlled wildness, but with beautiful technique and a champion's mentality. He's a guy who overcomes adversity. We saw that in the Vitor Belfort fight. His arm was hyperextended. Win by submission. He's not just a hammer. He's a guy who also is capable of taking the shots, which we saw in the first Gustafsson.
.232 right now. Forward marching, Douglas Silva, de Andrade, and Piotr Jan are part of a bantamweight resurgence in the UFC. Now we will find out which of these two highly touted fighters will move into title contention. One of the top UFC rookies of 2018, Russia's Piotr Jan extended his winning streak when he tagged streak to 5 with a first-round knockout of Teruto Ishihara and a fight of the night decision win over Jin Soo Song. Tonight he will take on the biggest test of his young career when he tackles Douglas Silva, de Andrade. Winner of 25 of his 28 pro bouts, D. Silva has been showing off his best form yet. Recent wins over Cody Gibson, Henry Briones, and Marlon Vera. Wins over Cody Gibson, Henry Briones, and Marlon Vera. And with his finishing instincts as sharp as ever, the Brazilian's focus tonight, as you have come to expect, including Invicta FC, Cage Warriors, and Cage Fury FC, submission grappling events, Cage Warriors and Cage Fury FC, submission grappling events, the likes of EBI and Polaris, also Roy Jones Jr. boxing, and plenty of kickboxing and Muay Thai coverage as well. UFC Fight Pass, download the UFC app. Coverage as well. UFC Fight Pass, download the UFC app today. All right, coming up next, former bantamweight title challenger Alpha Zingano moving up in weight tonight. She says she feels better across the board. And man, can she expedite a title run if she can get past the towering Aussie Megan Anderson. At one point, she was in line. See, Megan Anderson, at one point, she was in line to face Chris Cyborg mid-2017. Now she is on the short list of contenders looking to chase her down. And speaking of which, later tonight on pay-per-view, it is Chris Cyborg, Amanda Nunes, the super fight.
Chris Cyborg is a tough opponent, but her name doesn't mean... Chris Cyborg is a tough opponent, but her name doesn't mean anything. She's just another opponent.
You know, I train really hard. I'm ready. The first time I faced off Amanda Nunes, I'll work.
Oh,
Several knees now.
That's it.
This could do it.
That's it.
Chris Cyborg.
I'm here tonight to make history, to do something no woman has done.
Big combination. That's it. That's it. It's over.
I'm gonna be the one break.
Big combination. That's it. That's it. It's over.
I'm gonna be the one break Cyborg because I'm ready for her.
I don't respect John Jones at all. He doesn't have an answer for my attacks.
Oh, big shot. This has been the most he's ever been hit.
I think Alexander Gustafsson's going to be what it always is. You know, sharp boxing, a lot of footwork, pretty much running. There's no way to run.
Head kick. Oh! He's hurt, and John is all over him.
Here comes Johnny Bones with the ground and pound.
There's no way to run.
Head kick. Oh! He's hurt, and John is all over him.
Here comes Johnny Bones with the ground and pound.
He's out.
John Jones is back.
John is the best fighter out there, but I know I can break him. He's not ready for what I'm bringing to the table. I'm going to make sure I put him through hell.
I've done a lot of work to get back to this point, and I won't let it all go in vain.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fox Sports Desk in L.A. Karen Bryant here alongside Kenny. Hello, everyone, and welcome. welcome to the Fox Sports Desk in L.A. Karen Bryant here alongside Kenny Florian, Anthony Smith, and Michael Bisping. And it is time now for all month long on the same network as T-Mobile. Kenny Florian, start us off with John Jones.
My goodness, well, there's a lot to start off with. This guy really can do it all, but he did a great job of utilizing his kicking game against Gustafsson to keep him on the outside. He was stomping that knee. He was attacking the body. He was throwing a lot of spinning attacks. And as Michael Bisping was talking about earlier, it's hard to predict what he's going to throw next. Now watch this. That spinning elbow. About earlier, it's hard to predict what he's going to throw next. Now watch this. That spinning elbow. Another spinning attack in tight that really hurt Gustafsson. This one, though, was the one that really changed the fight. And I'm not sure Gustafsson even knew who he was in there with for the rest of that fight after that brutal spinning elbow.
Yeah, absolutely. That spinning elbow was the best moment of John Jones. But in my opinion, Gustafsson won the first 3 rounds. It was predominantly the footwork and the boxing that got it done. Look at that beautiful 1-2 attack, and see what he did there. He gets kicked, he immediately fires back each and every time. He made John pay every time he went forward, and we see there again the hands, the nice left hook. Here we are again, you know, staying out of range. Oh, and this was the takedown in the first round. First time Jones was ever taken down. Beautiful entry, and very, very surprising for a Swedishman.
Yeah. It was, and I'm really excited for this matchup to see who made the better adjustments, who's evolved more, who's grown more since the last fight.
That's it for us for now. Back octagon side to John Anik and the guys.
KB, fellas, thank you very much. Good to see Lionheart in studio. Megan Anderson and Kat Zingano. This is a big fight in terms of the landscape of the UFC women's featherweight division. Ceremonial weigh-in a day ago. As you see Megan Anderson there on the scale.
Yeah, Megan.
Ceremonial weigh-in a day ago. As you see Megan Anderson there on the scale.
Yeah, Megan Anderson is a handful at featherweight. She is long and tall, especially with her striking. But what Kat Zingano brought, especially with her striking. But what Kat Zingano brings to the table that makes it interesting is she's always been a big bantamweight. She's very physically strong herself, and she can wrestle. She's got great takedowns, exciting. The other thing being, of course, the experience of Kat Zingano. Right. But Megan Anderson is a real featherweight.
Yes.
She's not making bantamweight.
Right.
That's a big woman.
She's cutting a lot of weight down to 45.
Yes.
The FS1 5.
Yes.
The FS1 UFC 232 prelims are brought to you by Cerveza Modelo, the official beer of UFC. Well, in just 5, Anderson has established herself as an elite featherweight, but now on the sport's biggest stage, the Australian striker targets her biggest win against veteran star Kat Zingano. 2 credentialed combatants collide in this one, as former bantamweight title challenger Kat Zingano face off with former Invicta F in Anderson. Fresh off of a July win over Marion Renault, quest for UFC gold, and given previous wins over Amanda Nunes in quest for UFC gold, and given previous wins over Amanda Nunes, Miesha Tate, and Raquel Pennington, Zingano certainly has the tools to get the job done. Get the job done. Looking to put a halt to her plans. Enter the Aussie Anderson, a winner in 4 of her last 5 bouts, with all of those wins coming by way of knockout. Coming up next, Megan Anderson takes on Alpha Kat Zingano.
Champion UFC, but she started calling me out.
All the girls don't do that because they're scared of her. I'm a lioness.
So here she is, the lioness. And when she gets you in trouble, she never lets you off the hook. She doesn't think about the next minute. The next round, she thinks about taking her opponent out.
But Chris Cyborg has been...
Another victory for her. She steps in on short notice, just a couple of weeks, and dismantles Yana Kunitskaya. Amanda Nunes. Amanda...
I want it, yeah. It's the fight to make. It's the fight everybody wants.
That's done like I want.
Amanda, é uma luta que ainda te interessa? Você acha que essa luta ainda acontece?
Então, na verdade, eu tinha falado que, primeiramente, eu não queria lutar com ela por ela ser brasileira. E quero lutar com a Cris.
I know she's Brazilian, but when you become a professional fighter,
and then when you call Cyber Wild, you have to handle it.
Nunes gets her wish. An attempt to become the first female to hold 2 UFC belts.
São duas campeões. Eu por 135.
Well, Chris Cyborg is... Well, Chris Cyborg is the most dominant force in the women.
Sometimes where she's not.
Struggles greatly to get to 145 pounds. Amanda Nunes going up. Amanda Nunes going up to 145 pounds may have a healthier body.
Yeah.
When you get into the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds, if Amanda Nunes can get in there, you might see a depleted. You might see a depleted Cyborg, particularly if the fight is fought at a very high pace.
Right.
This is just dealing with the dehydration and just the diminishing effects of weight cutting.
And the other on a bigger human being. And Cyborg has to be smart here because she can get taken out by a highly technical Nunes if she's not careful.
And has Amanda Nunes put on the right weight? There are so many layers to this championship matchup tonight, and for Amanda Nunes, an opportunity to take out the great Chris Cyborg. You can see it all later tonight. Here is your pay-per-view main card for UFC 232. How about that pay-per-view opener at featherweight? Chad Mendes and Alexander Volkanovski, and of course the Jones-Gustafsson re-rack, about as highly anticipated as any rematch in recent memory. UFC 232, 10 p.m. Eastern tonight. You can order it now on pay-per-view. All right, coming up next, in the bantamweight division, these men were supposed to fight in November. Tonight, it shall be done. Brian Boom Kelleher taking on the Milwaukee native, Montel Jackson. Well, what a night it has been.